Doug, why don't we take a little break here?
All
and
right.
Then we'll just come right back.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're back with Frank right now, and it's kind of interesting here. So you were in pretty good shape, and somebody saw you dancing.
Dancing, yes.
So what became of somebody seeing you dancing? What happened?
Well, send me back to the front lines.
Oh no!
Yes, send me back to the front lines. They send me across the channel, and then I went once in France. We went in a troop train.
In a troop train.
Yes.
Now what was?
I don't know why I was in that troop train. But,
Now was that like you kind of see in the movies? They have, was it like seats in it, and they had windows, and you looked out?
Yeah, it was all. It was a regular train, I think. And in fact, we went through close to Paris, and I don't know why they didn't stop. They just kept on going. Sometimes we would stop outside of a city, but we didn't. They wouldn't let us off. I mean, it took a long time for me to get all the way from in France all the way to Belgium onto Bastogne.
Oh, really?
In Bastogne, they told me that they did not know where my outfit was, but I could stay with the 101st Airborne Division.
Oh, now that was an honor.
So I stayed there, and I was not a paratrooper. So what they did, they made me an MP.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, military police. And what I had to do, my duty was to walk back and forth with all of the tanks of they had cans of gasoline stacked up, got so high, And
How big were the cans? What
they were 5-gallon cans.
5-gallon cans?
For jeeps, I guess, And
How high were they?
And for tanks. Oh, I say that's maybe as high as 10 feet.
Wow.
They were high, stacked up. And then it went on for about, I say maybe I had to walk about quarter of a block or so, back and forth, just walking back and forth all night long,
Did you really? Now, did you have a rifle on you, pistol?
Yes, I did. I was armed, and I was afraid that if somebody shot that way and hit one of the tanks, that they'd probably blow up the whole thing, So anyway, that was my job. I had to go back and forth, back and forth.
Now, were there a couple of you in this area?
Yeah, it took turns, by 2 hours of each, just walking back and forth. And finally, one day they came over and they said that they found my outfit, that it was fighting in Luxembourg, and they had just taken Luxembourg, and they were going to be coming out. So and now we were going to meet them at a certain place. So they took me to where we met them, and then after 2 weeks there with the 101st, they when I met my company, they took us into the Hergen Forest, and we were going into the Hergen Forest, and there was a division, a 4th Infantry Division, coming out of there.
The forest.
And they were all out of the forest, and they were all beat up and they're walking, and they looked awfully tired, and we were replacing them. So they were coming out, and we were going to.
Now, how big the forest? Now, were they big trees, little trees?
It's a great big forest, yeah. Was it?
Big pine trees?
Yeah, a lot of big pine trees. So when not only did we have to watch out for, we were fighting the Germans, but the airplanes would come over and strafing, and the bullets would ricochet off the trees or the branches off of the trees, You had to watch out for that,
Oh, now So these are German.
That was terrible. That type of a fighting I never experienced. You know. And I
Wow.
had to
So they were
watch
just
out.
they were coming over and they were
Just
shooting at you.
shooting down.
Now were there
Yeah.
a lot of planes?
Oh yeah, it was several planes. Yeah, and then of course we later on we would see our planes going by, and there would be, 10 or 15 planes at one time, going by,
So they're chasing them.
to bomb big bombers,
Oh,
They
now
go
what?
and bomb, the towns, the cities.
Our bombers?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Bombers, yeah.
Now, did they have a fighter escort? Do you remember?
I didn't see it, I just saw all the big airplanes in line.
Right. Now, do you
They
know
might
if they
have,
were?
but they don't. Maybe they don't go real close to the.
Right. Now, do you know were they B-29s or B-26s? Do you know? offhand?
No, 17s, I think.
B-17s?
B-17.
Oh, okay. There are a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah. And then sometimes we would see the dog fights up there.
Oh, so now we're back to
Yeah,
more dog
yeah.
fights.
Yeah, and that was probably before the big squadron would come over, or somewhere around then.
Now, how many B-17s do you think were there in a squadron? 15, 20?
Yeah, quite a
More?
few of them. Yeah, quite a few of them. And they go and bomb the cities, and they go back.
So, did you saw them going overhead?
You saw them going over here
Now-
and coming back. Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't to where you could see the city or anything like that, any of the bombing.
No, we didn't
So
see that.
you saw them going
Yeah,
over.
right.
They did their bombing, then you saw them
and
returning.
then after that, we get the Germans coming over, the airplanes are coming over and strafing. Besides, we were fighting, troops down below, So
Wow.
then one day, let's see, I know that I left Bastogne, and the 101st Division went on December 1st or 3rd or something like that, and then I think it was December the 7th that they were surrounded, and they
Who was
by
surrounded
Germans, the 101st
now?
Division.
The 101st was
Yeah,
surrounded.
they were surrounded, and then the general, they send the Germans, to tell them that they were surrounded, to give up, and the general from the 101st said, nuts. And then one of the German commanders wanted to know what nuts meant, You probably read that, because that was in the paper,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, about that.
Now, were they close to
About
you?
the German, about the general, 101st, yeah.
Were they close to you?
Well, you know what I'm saying is that I had just left a few days before.
You just left
Yeah.
the 101st, so all of a sudden,
Yeah.
so you lucked
So
out.
I was out, yeah.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
left the
and then-
101st, and a couple
yeah.
days later,
Then we were in a Hurricane Force, and we took a town, I forget the name of the town. And we took that town, and we were out there in the battle line, And at night, they came over and they said, we're pulling out. And so then it says that the battle of the boats had begun, that was a big the German push, And they said, we're pulling out, but we don't want the Germans, here to know that we're leaving,
right?
Yeah, we want to make them think that we're still there, and everything quiet at night, no lights, no nothing, just pulling out, So we got into, there was a convoy of trucks and tanks out there, way back, and on the road, and then my commander says, hey, he called me Shorty because sometimes they make me a scout. Okay, you go out there, go out there, yeah, as a scout, yes. I go out there.
So what do you have?
Yeah.
You have a
the
radio?
rifle. I
You have
had
your
a
rifle?
with me,
You have a radio?
and I go out, no radio. What they did was that you go out there, and when you see the enemy, you put your rifle up over your head like this, you know. That's a sign, you know, enemy, you know. That means enemy. And then you bring your and you get down, you know, you drop to the ground, you know.
Wow. So
And
what's this terrain like?
And yeah, there were, you know, the thing is that there were, they call them fire breaks, you know, because there's trees, a lot of trees here, and then there's no trees for, you know, for like more than from here across the street, a little bit more than that maybe, you know. And those were fire breaks, like, you know. So we're on this side, you know. And then we, at one time,
Are you crawling?
yeah, no, well,
You're walking.
no, we're hiding in the back in the woods, you know, before the opening, you know, the whole company. But me, I have to go out there.
Yeah, you're out there. So
Yeah.
are you walking behind
Yeah,
trees?
but then,
and-
you know, before that, we started firing in another company. You know, company B was out there, and we started firing on them, you know, and then they stopped it, you know, stop the fire, stop, you know. It was our own troops, you know, they got ahead of us, you know. So this time here, they sent me out there, and they're, when I saw some soldiers laying out there, you know, and it says, you know, I saw one, you know, going, hi, you know, and I said, hi, you know, and he was saying, hi, Hitler, you know, whatever. I didn't know that, and I got in there, so before I knew it, you know, I realized that it was a German soldier, so I raised my my rifle and I dropped to the ground, you know, and then they all came, and the firing started, you know, and down.
You are
in between,
flat on the
in
ground.
between, yeah. But you know, they picked me. They said, "You're a short guy, you know, you can go out there, you know." They wanted-
How far were you from this guy was saying hi? Or these-
Well, I say maybe not even from here to across the street.
Oh,
Closer
so that's
than
like,
that.
that's not, yeah, that's like 60 feet,
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere around there.
yeah. No
That's
more
pretty
than
close.
That was very close. Yeah.
Now, did he have the German helmet on?
Yes, I saw that when I saw him. You know, I noticed that he was different. You know, and that high was a high Hitler, not a high buddy.
Yeah, now, was there just one of him? Was there just
Yeah.
one high to you?
Well, there were several, you know, but this guy here was closer.
He was just right there.
And he was close, right there, yeah.
Wow.
So-
So you dropped to the ground
Yeah,
and then
right there, yeah.
the
So when
shooting
they
started.
pulled us out, anyway, that night.
Well, how did you, if I may go back just for a second, so you're on the ground.
Yes.
Now, did you
That-
stay right there? Did you start
I
crawling?
stayed right there, and the shooting started. Yeah, the shooting starts.
Now, did our troops
Yeah.
come?
And when they come to me, and you know, then you know, I get.
So the Germans retreated?
Either the Germans they give up, or they keep on fighting. You know, yeah.
So our troops came up to you, and then you got up and went, "Hey, thank you very much for coming up
Yeah.
here." So the Germans retreated. Now, did you ever see anything like in that area of any white flags? Surrender. Did you ever see any surrender of the Germans
To do
in
what?
there? Any surrendering of the Germans?
Oh yeah, there were a lot of times. We had a lot of them surrender. Yeah.
How did that
There
go
was
about?
Well, I'll tell you, there was a time when we came out to an opening like that, you know, and the Germans were in front, so many yards, they were all in a trench, you know. And when we came out, you know, and then they start firing, you know, and there was too much firing, you know, so we hit the ground, you know, everybody started hitting the ground, and there were, it was a field with, I don't know whether beets or something like that, looked like carrots or whatever, you know, I think there were beets, and then we're just hiding, so I put my head, you know, down in there, you know, and the firing was, the machine guns were going and the shells and everything, and I started digging my head into into the dirt and into the ground, you know.
Oh, you're
Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. And
You
there
need
was
to get a
no
little
way-
bit lower.
Yeah, and we were there for a long time, you know.
How long? What's a
Yeah.
long time?
Well-
A couple hours or?
Yeah, maybe a couple of hours, and then every now and then, boom, 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 and then it's silent, and then a boom, boom, boom. But then the guy and the guy that had the what do you call it then?
Radio?
The radio, you know.
Radio man?
Yeah, he called for help, you know. So the tanks came in, and they way over on that side, and they went on that side, and then they turned around into the trench, which was long trench, you know. And the tanks turned around and put an aim at the trench, and they just started shooting at and the Germans started to jump out of their trenches, you know, with their hands up, you know.
Did they really?
So we were able to get up and and receive them, you know. And they gave up, you know. I mean, they came up
Wow.
with their hands up, yeah.
Oh, I
But
wanna-
there were a whole bunch of them dead in that trench, you know. 'Cause
Wow.
those tanks,
Now, can I stop for a second now? When the tanks shot, now were they shooting rounds or were they flamethrowers?
no, they were shooting.
They were shooting
Yeah,
rounds.
they were shooting. Yeah, they had machine guns and shooting down.
Okay, so they just let
Yeah.
loose. So they were right in line
right
with the
down
trenches.
the trench, you know, all the way.
Wow. So
And it was long.
what kind
long
of
trench.
feeling was that? You know,
Gee, wow.
so they
For them to, yeah, they just threw
they
their
get up
hands
there and they put their hands up in the air.
jumping up, you know, out of there with their hands up, you know.
So what do you do? Because you were just right there.
Yeah, we
So
just take them to the rear and
do you
yeah.
just gather them up? You know what?
you gather them up, and then we take them to the rear, you know, and we leave them there, you know. So sometimes some of the hillbillies, you know, they will take. It says if I take any. If I can get any prisoner, take them back, I'm going to shoot them, you know. And I saw that on that movie, the Brandon Brothers, you know, where the guy says, "Okay, you guys, take off, I'll take the prisoners," you know. And they took off, and then they heard a lot of shooting in the back, and they turned around. They knew that guy was shooting all those prisoners in there. Yeah, that was on the. But we had something like that, you know. But we knew that sometimes those hillbillies, they wanted to shoot.
Wow. Did that? You say you heard that sometime?
Yeah.
That went on
Yeah.
once in a while.
Yes.
No, that's part of war.
Yeah, and then part of the war, and then other times when you run into Company B, boom, you start shooting, you know, you start to stop, you know, right?
Yeah, that kind of was a
Yeah.
shock.
So, yeah. So
Wow. So
So
you got
then
the prisoners. So what happened from?
from the Hergen Forest, you know, and they took us out that night, you know, and everything quiet. And the commander says, he says, "Shorty, you come with me, because you speak some French, you know." So he sat me on back of the jeep on some boxes, you know, up on top. I was holding in there, and I'm going in there, and I haven't slept. I'm so tired for 3 days of fighting, you know. And
You didn't sleep for 3
and
days?
No, and then the tanks and the trucks and back with all the soldiers, you know. And I figured, just if I fall asleep when I fall, you know, I'm going
You'll
to
fall off the jeep.
all the trucks are going to run over me, and all the, you know, and the tanks. And so I was hanging on there, and I did fall asleep, but when I woke up again, had my fingers dug into the box that I was sitting on, you know. Yeah.
No.
And right away that we stopped at the first town there, right away we started fighting, you know, yeah. And then after that it was just, you know, the Battle of the
Wow.
Boats.
Wow. Well,
That
that's
was the
something. Now,
beginning.
was Patton around? Were those his?
He was
Is that
around
him?
and back in Normandy, but not that I know of later, because
Okay.
we changed armies. Yeah, we changed from the Third Army with Patton, you know, we changed to the Ninth Army.
Okay, so Patton was in the Third Army. Now,
Yeah.
did you see Patton at all?
No, I saw Eisenhower back in Normandy.
Oh, let's back up here just a little
Yeah.
bit, just for.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you saw with Ike.
Well, back in Normandy, when we were fighting there, you know, there was not too much fighting. Just little shots here and there, and we were in foxholes, and it went on for a long time, that fight there, without going anywhere. And Eisenhower came and visited, and then later on, we had some entertainers that came over, and they took us back a little bit back behind the lines, and they made a big tent there, and they had the whole division, 20,000 men in there, watching the show, you know, and they had
Wow.
different people acting and
USO.
dancing, singing, and all that there, and the master of ceremonies, he says, I need 3 volunteers. And I was in the front, I raised my hand, you know. And then he said, okay, you and you, coming up. So we went up on the stage, and he put like an apron on me, you know. So, oh, then he started rolling up my pants, and rolling up my pants, you know. Oh, you know, what's going on? He says, I'll show you in a minute what I want to do.
And here's
So he did
20,000
this for all
troops
3
out
of them.
there.
He says, okay, now we're going to sing a song. We're doing this, the Andrews sisters. You know, you and you, you're so-and-so, and you're so-and-so, and you're so-and-so. It's 3. Oh, there were 2 guys and him, you know. He says, and then, you know, I'm Patty or whatever, you know. So he's, okay, so then it's, okay, music. They start playing the Pennsylvania polka, and the Andrews sisters were singing the Pennsylvania polka. He said, okay, we're singing. Oh, we're doing, you know, the Pennsylvania polka. And he just, with a apron and all that, we're doing the Pennsylvania polka.
Now, did you do any dancing?
Yeah.
Did you do the polka?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you were.
And the soldiers were just cracking up with us doing the Andrews sisters. It was funny.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
something. Oh,
So-
boy. So this dancing really,
Yeah, right.
you just,
And they did have 2 French dancers in the show. And after, I was still in the front, you know. So after the show, I heard them, you know, hollering at each other. And then I took a look on the side of the tent, and that French dancer, he had two girls, partners, you know, and he was just so upset and screaming at them, you know, and they were fighting about something they did when they were out in the stage.
right.
They probably didn't do a certain thing right, and he was very, very mad. I mean, that's it.
Wow. Now, when you, so how close did you get to Eisenhower? Did you?
No, just from far away. He was just going down the line like this.
Oh, okay,
all
so
of a sudden.
you just saw
Yeah.
him passing by. Well,
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Well, Frank, wow, why don't we just end this session with you being on stage? And boy, you're a dancer, and we got more to come.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make this a 2-parter. We still have many more things that we're gonna be covering. We have the Battle of the Bulge and some very interesting circumstances that took part of your life coming up. So I just want to thank you so very much for this segment right now, and just thank you for your service. And we're going to sign off, and then we'll be back, and we'll have part 2 coming
That's
up.
fine. Sure.
So thank you so very
Yeah.
much. Okay, good night. Thank you.
Thank you.